gentlemen, we have with us today the Fado Duo combination from Jhaveri Flexo, manufacturer of superior quality films and customized flexible packaging solution with plants in Silvassa and Aurangabad. A bit late entrant in the packaging industry, but they have made their mark with their backward integration policies and high quality products. We very warmly welcome Mr. Sandeep Jhaveri, Managing Director, and Alay Jhaveri, Executive Director, Jhaveri Flexo, to the show Insights with Nidhi Verma.
Thank you very much, Nidhi. It's pleasure is entirely ours.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to have all of you here today. This is the first time that we are doing this little twist in our show. I think this is the 37th episode. And as it rolls down, we'll see that what the interest levels that we are bringing in this segment are. We are having a new format. The first one will cover the core business. And the second part will be the two generations of how they perceive the business. Sandeep ji, I'll begin with you.
Okay.
Your main business has been steel trading and money management. Basically, you are a money's man and trading. What motivated you to get into this flexible packaging industry, which was already pretty crowded?
A very short answer is flexibility.
Okay.
Steel is rigid and flexible laminates are basically flexible film. So this is what I want to prove, that if you are flexible, you can do a lot of things. But anyway, the real motivation was in one of my trips with the whole family in 1996 to USA. We had taken an apartment and we were even cooking ourselves. So I used to go to the grocery and pick up things, and many times I picked up things which were not even on the list. And my wife would ask, what have you done? I said, look at the packaging. It's such a beautiful packaging. And if they could, convince me to buy it just by looking at it, I think this is the business we should really get into. So that was my maiden manufacturing activity that I wanted to start. And I chose this one.
Wonderful, sir. The value of packaging that could get a person like Mr. Sandeep Jhaveri to get into this segment, I think we should have all a pat on our backs. Ali, which market segments in the flexible packaging industry have you seen a noticeable shift, and why in the pandemic months?
I would say that the pharma, then so basically anything which involves FMCG, so pharma, personal care, as well as food, all three have increased. Of course, there are a few select companies which may not have increased because of some small issues. It could be local issues. It could be something to do with their production. But I think largely to do with manpower. So select few companies have not been able to. But I think overall most of them have been able to increase their volumes.
So no segment out of maybe what you mentioned, the food, beverage, oil, snacks, personal care, cosmetics, dairy, pharma, all of them have grown. None of them have seen a dip.
So personally, we are into three main segments: pharma, personal care, and food. And in none of the three, we've seen a dip. Of course, in April there was a dip. Even our production did go down, but I think that's more to do with the lockdown. Companies are still trying to apply for permissions to get started. But I think May was for us. April was about our production was at about 50%. May it went to about 70%, and I think June it's come back to normal now.
Oh, that's very good news. And in the film sector, because you have a whole range of films, cling, stretch, surface protection, 5-lab, you have the whole plethora. What was the demand there?
So demand there has actually dropped because a lot of the films that we do are actually into the non-FMCG sector. So, to any other industrial sectors like auto, real estate. So there we've seen a drop because, it's largely to do with, the people who are not able to start their factories. So for those reasons, but I think from a FMCG point of view, things have been pretty normal.
Okay. Sandeep ji, besides growing the capacity, you are known to have done backward integration. You started with converting and then you went into film production, everything you've done in-house. What was the thought process behind this?
The main reason was we wanted to do a lot of R&D to bring in some new products. Now, if we have to get those films or those required items, it wasn't that easy to get to various different trial lots with different specifications and all. So this was one of the major driving factor.
Okay.
Otherwise, we also felt that if we just stay where we are and keep on producing more and more of the same thing, then we are not actually bringing any value on the table. The whole purpose is to try and do something different and something innovative, so that the customer in the end feels that yes, he is a partner on whom he can rely, depend for future needs. And we have had such interactions with major customers and FMCG customers, wherein we have developed a lot of products. Some are already in their present uh, requirements, and some they felt that okay, they still need something more. So that also keeps us again driving for more and more.
The value
So,
additions there. Ali, any new niche packaging or applications, innovations that are in the pipeline and that you're going to be bringing to the market?
oh yeah, definitely a lot of them. I'm not sure if this is the right platform to disclose them, but we do have our own CPP and metallizing line, and I mean we have a 5-layer cast, we have a 5-layer blown, so we do keep on developing, new products, focusing on improved sealability, high barrier properties, MDO machine. I think that's the new thing. Then recyclability, mono structures. So we do keep on doing a lot of counterfeit as well. So yeah, it's something which sooner or later everyone will come to know.
Okay, great. We will be
Yeah,
looking forward for that.
absolutely.
Sandeep ji, why have you left out BOPP and polyester? You quite covered the entire other, 360 degrees. Why these two areas have not caught your fancy?
Very good question. First of all, where is the money? A converter does not have that kind of money to invest in big lines of BOPP or polyester. Second, our own requirements, captive consumption is not so much. I mean, just to say a little wittingly, is for a couple of liters of milk, you don't build a cowshed.
There's a money man speaking. Okay, understood, sir. Ale, not so much of exports. Why?
So we do look at exports. Currently, also our a fourth of our production is exported. Personally, I love to travel, so I try and find customers in the destination that I've never been to. It gets tough when the wife plans a trip to like places like Bahamas or Bora Bora or something, but I still try my best. So we do focus on exports. But
Millie,
again, I mean.
Millie is not giving you dinner tonight. I can promise you that. Um,
No, jokes apart. But I think exports is definitely. I mean, our focus is there, but it's. I think domestic requirement is also big, and the volume which India has. I think that's for a company like ours, we do have to cater to Indian markets as well. And I mean, you see a lot of these multinationals coming in, with acquisitions or setting greenfield activities in India. So that does show that there is a lot of interest in India, and we continue to focus on that as well. So our growth, I mean, export percentage might remain the same, but the growth with growth, exports will also increase.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Sandeep ji, are you looking for any acquisitions? Your balance sheet is very strong, of course, coming again from a person who's been in the money markets. Yeah, there is no surprise. But if some companies are available at good valuation, would you be looking at acquisitions?
Yes, in fact, I don't know whether you are aware, but we have also acquired in the past a couple of small units, and that was main. I mean, the main reason at the time was to get into some sort of diversification, bring in new products, bring some new equipments, and then have diversification as well as expansion that's going simultaneously. So that was that's the history. But now we are of course ready to go for acquisition if it is available at a price where it's a long term sustainable, because we don't want to get into something where after 2 years 3 years we feel that oh, this is a wrong kind of business. And with the government regulations and all these things in place, and with the current pandemic, we would like to be a little cautious going ahead with any acquisition. The idea is also not to buy out something which is just because somebody is in a distress and he wants to sell. That is a human approach.
Yes, I agree with you. We get tempted to go that route, but
Yeah,
can
offers are coming.
I'm aware.
But
Yes.
if you have something in place, do let us know. You
Yes,
can put us in
I
touch.
think I become a good platform where I do get a lot of requests for connecting on such things, and yes, I shall be connected on this point also. Ali, multi-layer laminates are a little difficult to recycle. So much focus on recycling now. What would be your view on that?
I think as a country, our focus should first be on collection of waste. It's very important. I mean, the first step would be to inculcate this within the educational system. I think if it's done properly, recycling is not an issue. Brand owners in India have shown a great interest in developing a lot of recyclable films, and together we have developed several options. High barrier options, mono substrate options as well. So I don't think that's a challenge. I mean, if you look at a country like USA, they have the highest per capita consumption in packaging, but they don't have any recycling issues. It's because the waste is collected in a proper manner and is recycled. So it's a catch-22.
Okay. Now I'm going to come to the second segment where we have both the generations here with us, and I'm so curious to know that how they look at different parameters of the business. So my time to quiz. Sandeep ji, what is the difference in the business working culture in the flexible packaging industry when you began 2 decades back और अब अगर आप देखते हैं तो आपको क्या difference नजर आता है?
There's a big cultural shift. I'll tell you how and why. First of all, when I started in 1998, there were only a handful of organized players in conversion segment. Most of the other ones were not really competitors. They were just able to offer price, but no quality, no long-term commitments and all. Now that was the time of past. Now you can see there are so many, several new players who have come on the field, on the scenario, and apart from that, like Alay said, even the MNCs have also got into the space. So the cultural shift has been constant. I think there has been a big evolution. Now, when we talk to the customers, we realize that they have also started differentiating between good organized player and the one who can really bring value on the table. It's not only competitive price, but also some innovation, some technology, some R&D. All these things were not, matter of past. So that's a big cultural shift. And of course, when the time changes, the younger people bring in newer ideas, and old ones have to make space. So this is what we are trying to blend. What I know and of past, and based on whatever Alay feels that he can pick up those things, but he can always blend with his new ideas, and that's how the flexibility, as I said, is the name of the game.
Yes, flexibility in the flexible packaging business. And yes, the old order changes, bringing the new yield to new. That is the old saying.
Absolutely.
Sandeep, like you mentioned, what is the major change that you see that Ale has brought into the business when he
Yeah,
started, since the time he's become active, internally
yeah,
within the company and for the market also?
yeah. A lot of systemic changes, digitalization, in terms of professionalism in the company. He has really inculcated the habits amongst the people, which, when I was handling it more or less single-handedly, I could not, I could appoint some professionals, but I could not bring the professionalism in the company. At the end of the day, people used to say, ये industry में ऐसे ही चलता है, सब कहीं पे भी जाओगे नहीं यही होता है. And then you don't want to argue, endlessly. So you say, okay, if the result is, I mean, I would say, if one gets 60 out of 100, people used to say, oh, this is a very good score,
Ah,
which today is so that kind of systemic change, the digitalization, how the reporting should be done, this is all within the company. And even outside also, when it comes to the customers, he has done a lot of innovations with customer interaction amongst their technical people, or technical people. In the past, we used to feel that if you tell a lot of things to the customer, he may develop other suppliers and all. This kind of fear is not there. Now people have started understanding the long term relationship, long term approach when it comes to doing some new developmental work, then people are ready to sign NDAs and go for really long-term approach. So all these things, I'm sure Allah and his team have definitely brought in the company. I,
Wonderful.
I tried at that time, but as I said, I could not succeed.
No, no, so it's good. Ale has succeeded, so it's the one and the same thing. Ale, what I've read is that every son follows his father example and not his advice. This is what I've read. And in your case example, I think Sandeep ji has set such a beautiful standard that it is going to be a little more effort to fit into his shoes.
No,
Um,
it's no, I can say that it's going to be a lot more effort, and it'll be tough to match up to what he was at this age. But yeah, I mean, still, that's always a benchmark that you want to try and achieve. So trying
And
to.
when you were younger and you were pursuing your education, what were your ambitions and your aspirations then? And how have you matched up to them when you compare now?
So ambitions and aspirations both normally, I mean, they end up changing with age, right? Right from having an aspiration to study abroad, to money management, to having a startup, getting married, then joining the family business, and then eventually starting a family of my own. And I mean, very thankful to my entire family to be there for me during the entire time that I wanted to pursue each and every distinct aspiration at that moment. So, but I am quite satisfied in where I am. I have a nice and loving family. I have a good business. So yeah, I mean, couldn't complain.
Super. Ali, there are two scenarios. One is where you start something on your own and build it up. I'm an example of that. Other scenario like yours, where you have taken inheritance and then taken it to a separate level, a different level. Both have their different scenarios. What are your
Absolutely. Yeah.
thoughts on the pros and cons of both?
So this could take up the entire bandwidth of the interview. Uh, but no, definitely both have their pros and cons. And just to give a short insight, I did have a startup of my own also. This was in 2014. We had a startup in the logistics space, which got acquired in 2016. And after that, I joined the family business. Coming from that, entire mindset, I think a startup, depending on the field, it's very exciting because you're always trying to disrupt the current normal. However, it's a roller coaster when it comes to emotions, thoughts, and even outcomes. But from a family business point of view, I think at least when I joined, because we had a very strong base, the type of challenges were very different. I mean, coming from managing a company which was doing 1/10 or maybe say 1/20th the volume as compared to what Jhaveri Flexo at that point of time was doing, it was very tough. And of course, I mean, always at that point of time, the primary fear was whenever I joined the family business, everyone would be like, oh, he's his father's son, that's why he's come into this business, and that's why he's our boss. So it was very important that, and there's something which dad had also told me, that you have to prove yourself. And I think with the startup, I at least came to a place where people started respecting me, not just because of that. I mean, of course, there was a little bit of that also, but they also kind of understood where I was coming from, and where I could add value. So yeah, as I said, both have their pros and cons. I think at that point of time, I felt a startup was definitely the thing to do, especially because you like the enthusiasm, you like working with a group of youngsters. Right now, I think I'm more of a family man. I've taken I do enjoy the occasional challenge, but I want to focus on my family as well. So
Very nice. I think Sandeep.
I'd like to add one thing here. Good thing is that last several months, even I have been now started getting recognized as Alay's father.
Very
No,
good.
no jokes, really.
No, on that I want on that I
And
want.
then to tell you something more, even my grandson's grandfather also. A lot of people are asking me, "Oh, are you his grandfather?" I
Oh,
said yes. So
I'm
it,
saying
so it really gives great pleasure that down the line people are doing their jobs so very well.
absolutely.
he's just being modest.
No better happiness than that. Ali, what is your one goal that you have, which you think your father will feel extremely happy and saying, yes, I'm Alay Jhaveri's father?
I think if I
Retire
think what you
him.
said right now, if a day comes when someone recognizes him, I mean, after all that he's done, for not just for himself, for the entire family, for overall the entire company. If someone comes to him and recognizes him, oh, you're Alay's father. I think that's the best sign of success. For me.
Yes, more than any money can buy. I think that
Oh
is
yeah,
happiness.
not comparable at all.
That's what I said, that it has actually started happening. So a lot of people tell me that now it's good time you can retire. I said I'll retire only when I'm tired second time, because that's called retire. I am not tired first time.
Well said, very well said. Ali, the IQ and the EQ in Sandeepji's generation had quite a balanced positioning, to run the organizations as well as the business and handle the people. I deal with a lot of business houses myself because of the nature of my conferences. I would say they're at 50-50, correct? In the modern management which you are handling, what ratio will you give the IQ and the EQ for your teams?
Um, I think it should be 100 and 100. You cannot give even 1% less importance to either one. See, in the end, a company cannot work without a team of good people, and a team of good people are nothing if there's no company. Fortunately, we've been, as far as a lot of our management was concerned, mid-level management was concerned, that had already, formed a good team. And they were not just people who were doers, they were also people who can think for themselves. So that has really really helped us, and taken a good amount of stress off our shoulders, because I mean, in the end, a company is only as good as in the entire team, all the people. So.
Beautiful answer. Full marks to you, Ali, on that answer. I would like to ask you, Ali, that what are the main changes that you would now like to bring to your organization, whether it's technology or people or the bottom line? If Sandeep ji was to say that I'm hanging my boots tomorrow, what will you exactly do? Don't say that he's already given you full hand. Give me a better answer than that.
No, I mean, I'm fortunate enough that he has allowed me to, he's given me the freedom to change certain things as I deem fit. Of course, I keep on going to him time and again for his advice and his thoughts, because his experience is just, I mean, that's something which I'll never be able to match up to. But if I could change, I think there's one thing which I would want to focus on, which most of the companies I feel don't or are not able to, is culture. I think that's something which is very important for a company's growth. That to have that driving factor, it's not a one person job. It has to be the entire team who's focusing that, the end goal has to be, well defined for the entire workforce. So I think that's something which I would want to focus on. And second, we are doing a lot of work on technology. So that's something which we keep on improving. We keep on trying to figure out what the next best thing could be, and see if there's a possibility of us having an early movers advantage in that.
Well said.
Okay,
Uh,
I would like to add something here.
please.
Uh, this is a fact. I told Alay about, I would say, about 2.5 years, 3 years back. That is, after he took over some position in Jhaveri Flexo, and when I could see how he was shaping up, and I was confident. So I told him that, look, there is a very fine line. There is a very small difference between guidance and interference. So if you ask
Yeah.
my advice and I give you, you'll definitely like it as guidance. If you don't ask my advice and I keep on giving the advice, then it will be interference. So I will never interfere. I'll guide you when you want. And I think by and large, we have maintained that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Can't deny
I
that at
think
all.
that's a golden rule, sir. You've given us a lot of guidance with that golden rule.
And from a second generation point of view, it's very, very important. I mean, if there's someone continuously telling you that, no, this is what you're supposed to do, this is how you're supposed to do it, I don't think things would work that well. So I've been fortunate enough to have a very sensible father, a very smart person who's been able to, guide me through the process and, be there whenever I need them.
You definitely are lucky. I can vouch for that. Sandeep ji and Ale, what are the topics that both of you have a conflict with on the dinner table when you do your business talk? Please don't give me that answer. We don't talk business on dinner table.
we actually don't.
It's actually a fact that we don't discuss business on dinner table, but we do discuss business between Alay and myself, or between Nal and myself, on various things that they both handle, over a cup of tea or coffee, or depending on the time, even over drinks.
Yes.
So
So Mrinal is your second son who takes care of the money management.
yes,
Yes.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
one day when we also have conferences in that sector, probably he will be our fourth participant. Sandeep ji, there are a lot of family-run businesses in my industry, which is the Indian plastic industry. I would like to have your message from your example and experience, what you would like to give to them, where the second and the third generation are also taking the reins of the business.
Yeah, I mean, this can really be a long answer, but I would like to, be a little short on this. One thing is, one has to be very, very alert in the business. You can make the people very disciplined, that's fine, but at the same time, be very, very alert. Like, you see on traffic signals, there is a signboard which says, Savdhani hati to durghatna gati.
Your father has these one-liners, huh, Alec?
Yeah,
Oh,
So,
good
so,
one.
so if you are not alert, then anything can happen. So that's where. But at the same time, when you are disciplined, and when you inculcate the habit of total discipline amongst the staff, you should also not forget the human approach. Humanity is very, very important. Just to tell you, I'm not boasting of myself, but I felt that it's better that I tell this on this platform, that in last 3.5 months, there have been times when some of our people have not been, even now also some are not able to join, because either they are traveling, they have gone to native place or whatever. But in 3.5 months during this lockdown and pandemic, we have not deducted any single person's even one single day's salary.
Oh, beautiful. So that's a wonderful example for our industry.
That's why I said that long-term sustainability is very important. If we can't sustain even for this short period of 3.5 months, then what's the point of being in business? So
yeah,
this
well
is,
said.
and like they say, charity begins at home. So we consider that our employees are a large family.
Yeah.
It's better to look after them rather than going. I mean, we do donate here and there for various other social causes, but certainly I would like to take care of my own people first, and go outside. It's again one liner, like they say that in case of a fall in cabin pressure in the airplanes, when what they say, first apply the mask on yourself and then help others. So when we have the mask, and in pandemic, mask is very important. And so we decided to help the people around us.
I'm saying, Sandeep, so it was so nice talking to you. I think, Ali, here is where a whole lifetime of experience comes, where their
Yeah, yeah.
life itself is an example where they bring in incidents and guidance from things that themselves they have faced. This is the wealth of experience that you have to run your company. And I think, sir, in our industry, the plastic industry, there's so many families, where the patriarchs are there, and the younger generations, the second and third generations, they have the advantage of taking the wealth of advice from their seniors and taking the industry forward with the hands-on technology. So it becomes, the pillars are so strong, and then the younger generation brings in the added advantages of technology, as well as their foresight into how the globalization has brought the advantages.
Exactly. That is the blend which will get you better results than trying to follow only one.
Yes, and I think the Indian companies, Sandeep ji and Ale, I feel have a very high, advantage here, because most of the foreign companies, though few of them are family run, but they are more into the PE funds hands, and they are more financially managed hands. Here, it is the family itself that runs the
Yeah.
business. And here is where they bring their human touch, like you said about your teams, and that emotional quotient that they bring along, where we have people who've been working with the organizations for decades and decades. So
Correct.
that is so beautiful. And I think this is one thing that I've stuck to the plastic industry, though I don't belong. I'm not a chemical or a plastics polymer engineer. I'm
Same
a
here. Me
technology
neither.
engineer. But it is so much a warmth in this industry that I feel this is more like home. On that note, I would like to bring in my very special guest. His videos that I think Millie, Ali's wife, has been uploading. they have been a source of joy, I think, to all of us, not only to you. I was wonder what kind of sunlight that boy brings in.
Yes,
Alay, can you give us the third
and I can tell
generation?
you, though we are in plastic business, none of his smile is plastic.
Sandeep sir, I think you should write some scripts for some movies also. You are a very good ladies and gentlemen, with so much of warmth and love, I want to bring the third generation of Jhaveri Flexo. That is Arif, who is going to give us a little glimpse. If you have to see his videos, I love seeing them. Every time I'm having a little stressful moment, I watch his video. And you have to see this bundle of joy to actually believe him. Yes.
He's the reason we don't have any stress.
Absolutely. One smile from him. Even
Yeah.
people like me who only know the family, not to that extent, they also get such a lot of happiness.
If you can see me.
Oh my God. Hello, Arif. How are you?
Say hi. Just a second. I'll
How are
just
you, Arif?
just a second.
Okay. Arif, can you hear me?
Say hi.
I think you can speak to him a bit because
Arif, say hi.
hello. So they making you do a lot of work. Huh? Millie's making you do very Atmanirbhar बहुत ज़्यादा बना दिया आपको. I've seen him cooking foods, doing everything. Millie requires 2 pats on a back for that. Oh my God. He is such a bundle of joy. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the 3 generations of Jhaveri Flexo. With such kind of families in our business, I think the plastic industry has a very bright future. Thank you so much, all 3 of you. It has been such a pleasurable session, very close to my heart, and appreciate a lot. And we'll see each other soon on the other side.
Thank you very much, Nidhi, for the opportunity that you're given, and we would certainly be very happy if we can be of any help to anyone. As far as it's not only the business, but in general for anything.
Beautiful, sir. Thank you so much. This will go across the industry. And Arif, bye. I'm going to see you soon. Bye-bye. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye to Millie also.